This is an iHeart podcast.
What if you could decide what happens next in Lively Lewis stories? Now you can, because we're on Rifio. Rifio is the first interactive storytelling platform where you create the next season. Choose your favorite characters, pick the setting, and select the adventure. Then, at the end of each 2-minute episode, you choose how the story continues. No writing, no stress. Just pick, play, and create with us. Search Lively Lewis Stories on Rifio and start your adventure today. Welcome in, everyone, to Lively Lewis Stories.
That's right. We're back with even more awesome adventures with Levi and Ivy.
Set your storytime meter to fun and get ready to join the Lively Lewis crew.
All you need is your imagination and...
off we go!
I can't wait to see where our story takes us today.
Have you ever wanted to get more Lively Lewis in your life?
Well, we've got you covered.
Grab an adult and zoom over to livelylewisshop.com.
Or just click on the link in our show notes.
Enough about that. Let's get to today's super Lively Lewis story.
The story you're about to enjoy was inspired by Joseph and Ashley. Thank you so much for your amazing idea. As April went along, Levi and Ivy's school began to talk more and more about Earth Day. They talked about the importance of taking care of the earth, recycling, not wasting water and energy, and not littering. Levi and Ivy learned about how they could help protect the earth by taking action in their own neighborhood. They liked recycling, always turned off the water while brushing their teeth, and tried their best to remember to turn off the lights when they left a room. But one thing they definitely needed to work on was not littering. Levi, is this your granola bar wrapper on the deck? Called Levi's mom, holding it up the wrapper and walking into the house. Oh, yeah. Sorry, Mom, answered Levi. I was going to go back out and get that. Why not just bring it in with you in the first place? Then you wouldn't have to remember to go back out and throw it away properly, suggested Levi's mom. Good idea, said Levi with a smile as he watched his mom throw the granola bar wrapper in the trash. I mean it, Levi. You and Ivy both need to watch out for your littering, said Levi's mom as Ivy walked into the kitchen. Why am I in trouble? I wasn't even there, laughed Ivy as she sat down at the table. Levi and Ivy's mom explained to her daughter what had just happened and why she was talking about her too. Earlier that morning, Ivy's mom found an empty plastic snack bag outside, and she knew, by the type of snack that it was, exactly who left it outside. Yes, that was my snack bag, but it was a healthy snack. Aren't you at least happy that I was eating something good for me? Asked Ivy with a cute smile. Yes, that's great, but this littering problem is serious, said Ivy's mom, motioning for both her kids to take a seat at the kitchen table. They looked a bit annoyed and didn't realize what the big deal was with a few little pieces of trash outside in their backyard. It was just one little granola wrapper and one little snack bag, said Levi. We'll try to do better next time. You may think that your granola bar wrapper or your snack bag couldn't possibly do anything bad for the planet, but it all adds up. Just think about it. If everyone in our neighborhood dropped one piece of litter outside every day, said Levi and Ivy's mom, it wouldn't take long at all for it to become a big deal. Even though Levi and Ivy knew what their mom was saying was very important, they still didn't really think that a few pieces of litter was going to make a huge difference to the environment. However, they told her they were sorry and that they would try their best to stop littering around the house and at school. She thanked them both, and off they went to start their day at school, where they both had quite the reputation for not putting their trash in the garbage. At school that day, everyone was busy preparing for their big Earth Day event that was happening at the end of the week. That day, every student was asked to write down something they could do to care for the planet. Levi and Ivy both wrote down that they wouldn't litter, which made all their friends laugh. Sorry to laugh, Levi and Ivy, but you two never pick up your trash at snack time, said their friend Joseph. Levi and Ivy looked shocked, but knew their friend was right. Remember that one time I gave you my last few potato chips at the park and you threw the bag on the ground when you were done? Joseph asked Levi. That's not fair. I tried to toss it into the trash can, but I just missed it, said Levi. But you just left it on the ground after that, Joseph reminded him. You should have to pick it up and throw it away properly. And Ivy, every time you have gum, you drop the wrapper on the ground, said their friend Ashley. That's not true. Sometimes I make gum wrapper rings, Ivy responded. But those always fall off when we're playing and you have to pick them up, replied Ashley. Levi and Ivy didn't know what to say, and since they were feeling a bit embarrassed, they came up with an excuse about having something else to do and walked away to the other side of the auditorium. "So I guess we're just a couple of litter bugs," said Levi, sounding upset. "Like they've never littered before?" said Ivy in a gruff voice as she folded her arm and leaned against the wall. At that moment, Levi and Ivy could have seen the comments that their friends made as helpful, bringing it to their attention that they do litter a lot and it's a habit they should stop. But instead, they got upset by what they heard because they knew littering was wrong and it made them feel embarrassed. The next day was Tuesday, and Earth Day activities continued at school. That day, the focus was on creating a new club run by students that would carry the spirit and teachings of Earth Day all year long. It would be called Planet Patrol. The club would be made up of a group of students that would help run Earth-friendly activities throughout the school year. And it was obvious to everyone that the first two kids to sign up would be Joseph and Ashley. They were always trying to help others learn about things they could do in their everyday lives to make a positive difference for our planet. "First name on the sign-up sheet. Yes!" called out Joseph, handing the pen to Ashley. "That's because you told me they weren't putting the sign-up sheet out until lunchtime," replied Ashley, taking the pen and signing her name bigger than Joseph's. But no matter who signed up first, Joseph and Ashley were just happy to have a club in school where they could help it be Earth Day every day. As the other students signed up that morning, Levi and Ivy walked to the cafeteria where the Planet Patrol sign-up sheet was sitting on a table. The pen was passed around from friend to friend, but none of the kids passed the pen to Levi and Ivy. They weren't being mean, they just all really thought that Levi and Ivy wouldn't be interested in becoming part of the Planet Patrol. And they were right. Still feeling a bit bad about their friends thinking they were litter bugs, Levi and Ivy didn't say anything and continued to their classrooms, and their friends noticed. Later that day at recess, Joseph and Ashley felt bad that they had upset Levi and Ivy. They tried to talk to them, but it didn't go great. "I wanted to see if you'd like to join the new Planet Patrol Club," asked Joseph as he climbed the playground walk wall next to Levi. "You could be a Planet Patroller with me. It would be fun," added Ashley as she played hopscotch next to Ivy. "But you told us we were just a couple litter bugs, so why would you want us in your club?" asked Levi, not really interested in an answer. "I think we're all set. You know, one little potato chip bag or gum wrapper ring isn't going to make a big difference anyways." Levi was speaking out of frustration and knew what he was saying wasn't true. But he just didn't know how to deal with the way he was feeling. So instead of talking it out, he decided to just leave the situation. And Ivy did the same. "Everyone has the power to make a difference," said Joseph, calling after Levi and Ivy. "If you stop littering, that can make other people stop littering too, because you're setting a good example. But if you keep littering, other people could see that, think it's okay, and do it too," added Ashley. "Then we'd have a big problem on our hands. We all have the opportunity to lead by example. We just have to make sure that our example is a good one." Levi and Ivy looked at each other, but kept walking. They heard what their friend said, but still couldn't help but feel upset about being called out for littering. They didn't know how to work through the situation, so they walked away from it, which meant there was still a problem that needed a solution. "I think the first job of Planet Patrol should be to help Levi and Ivy see how damaging litter can be," said Joseph. "But how?" asked Ashley. "We'll just need to keep our eyes open for any opportunity to help." When they got home that day, Levi and Ivy looked a bit down, and their parents asked what happened at school. They told them all about Planet Patrol and how their friends asked them to join. "That sounds fun. Why would that make you upset?" asked Levi and Ivy's dad. "Because they basically called us litter bugs yesterday," said Ivy. "We're kind of upset with them." "But if you are litter bugs, need help remembering to throw away your trash properly, joining Planet Patrol could be very helpful," explained their mom. "After all, I did find some more wrappers and bags blowing around in the backyard today." Levi and Ivy sighed deeply, looking frustrated. "What's the big deal?" said Ivy. "It's just our backyard, and we would have picked them up eventually." "You keep saying that, but I keep picking up your trash," replied Ivy's mom. "I don't think you're going to see how big of a problem littering can be until it affects you personally," said their dad. "It's an easy habit to break, and I think your friends are just trying to help you." "And even though you both know your friends are right, you're feeling embarrassed and frustrated with them because they brought it to your attention and it made you feel bad," said Levi and Ivy's mom. Levi and Ivy completely agreed with their parents but stayed quiet. "It may take time, but we can help too," said Levi and Ivy's dad. My suggestion is realizing that you want to do better than doing better. Not littering will be great for the planet, and it'll make you feel great too. I agree with your dad. I know that both of you understand that it's the right thing to do. So added Levi and Ivy's mom. If you focus on not littering rather than focusing on being upset at your friends, I think you'll solve this problem very quickly. Levi and Ivy, still a bit frustrated, nodded their heads, hugged their parents, and walked upstairs to bed. Then, as they both drifted off to sleep, they couldn't help but replay the last 2 days in their heads. And as they felt themselves falling into a dream, something truly extraordinary happened. Levi's eyes popped open wide. He felt as if he had only been asleep for a few seconds. Thinking there was no way it could be morning, he stumbled over to a window and pushed back its curtains. Bright sunlight streamed into Levi's room, and he quickly had to cover his eyes. The light was so bright that he couldn't see out the window. Levi was now instantly awake, feeling like he couldn't possibly go back to sleep. He wandered into Ivy's room only to find her wide awake as well. "What's going on?" asked Levi. "It can't be morning already," added Ivy. They were both pretty confused as they walked over to Ivy's window to get a look outside. They were hoping to figure out exactly what was going on, but when they finally saw what was waiting for them, the only thing they knew for sure was that it would be definitely an unforgettable day. Thanks for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed the story and learned a little something too.
And since we know everyone has their own story, we'd love to hear yours.
If you have an idea for a Lively Lewis story, leave a comment on our Apple Podcast review page with 5 stars, your idea, and your little one's name.
Then maybe our next adventure will be with you.
Until our next Storytime Hangout.
Thanks for listening. We can't wait to share another fun Lively Lewis story with you.
This is an iHeart podcast.